I'm going to tell you a story about anti-police bias on a public college campus that I hope infuriates you as much as it does me. All right, the latest bout of snowflake stupidity comes to us courtesy of far-left Brooklyn College in New York, which is part of the City University of New York education system. Now, that's a taxpayer-subsidized public institution, meaning the land on which it sits is owned by the City of New York. Well, they don't want cops on the campus. They don't want police officers to be able to use the restrooms on the campus. This is from a New York Post story. Even worse, let me read you a quote from the public safety director of Brooklyn College, a guy named Donald Wenz that I have no use for, and I'm going to tell you why. This guy, man, what a piece of work he is. He's a disgrace. He's the school's director of public safety, and he told the student newspaper, the Excelsior, that he's trying to keep New York's finest out of sight. While Wentz said all of the school's restrooms were technically open to cop, the college prefers they stick to those in the isolated West End building, quote, rather than walking across either quad to use the bathroom. But why am I so disgusted by this idiot Donald Wentz? He's a retired NYPD captain. This guy must have been a piece of work as a boss. He must have really looked after his cops, right? I mean, people like this are everything wrong with law enforcement. This is a public institution on public grounds. They want cops to use a bathroom that apparently doesn't work, is disgusting, filthy, has no soap and paper towels, on an isolated end of the campus, instead of using one of the many restrooms that are more convenient to access by walking through the gate. Now, this one hits home for me because I was one of those cops on a foot post for long hours. Sometimes you got to break off for 15 seconds after you drank your fifth coffee or your seventh bottle of water and use the restroom quickly. But of course, the snowflakes are terrified. Now, I got to read you some of what the student body, and these are guys, these are guys. A lot of these people in their late teens, early 20s. At the same time, I was walking on that foot post at 2 a.m. Aren't they ashamed? Where are their dads to smack them and say, man up, and stop embarrassing yourself and me and the rest of your family? This is disgraceful. Let me read this to you. Quote, I know, here. So this is a 21-year-old. This is a woman. This is a female. But then again, I don't know. It's a liberal university. Maybe they identify. Who knows? By the way, the cops can't use the bathrooms, right? But any gender can. So let me read this quote from one of the students. Quote, I know students from every background and across every major, she said. They don't feel comfortable around cops. They just don't. My favorite, it makes safe spaces feel not so safe. The police make them feel unsafe in their safe spaces. I'm speechless. I'm rarely speechless. You watch the show. I'm rarely speechless. Another 20-year-old junior majoring in psychology said it was, quote, weird seeing cops on campus, and added, quote, your first instinct is to be scared. Brooklyn College isn't exactly in the greatest neighborhood. If your first instinct is to be scared by the police and not the perps on one side of that school, you're a moron. You're a moron, and you are personifying everything wrong with academia. Now, this is my favorite, okay? This is my all-time favorite. Student body president Nassim Saeed blamed the sentiments on an NYPD operation that sent an undercover cop to infiltrate the school's Muslim community in search of Islamic terrorists. Now, you got to understand something about this area of Brooklyn, okay? It's near the Mahid Al-Ansar Mosque. It's near the Al-Farouk Mosque. We know, and without me giving up too much that I can't give up, those were hotbeds of terror fundraising activity. NYPD, the FBI, JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force, and other agencies had them under surveillance. The intelligence yielded fruit. It was actionable intelligence that saved lives. In fact, the same undercover they're talking about, ready for this? Another quote from the article. The same female cop helped the feds in 2015 nab 2 Queens women, Noelle Valencias and Asia Siddiqui, who are awaiting trials on charges they stockpiled tanks of propane gas for, guess who? You know who? ISIS, for an ISIS-inspired attack on the Big Apple, on New York City. So let's think about this for a second. The student body, the snowflake student body that's afraid of police in their safe spaces, doesn't want police on campus because a female undercover acting on very good intelligence went into the school's Muslim community after successfully uncovering and having arrested 2 women who were plotting an attack on New York City for ISIS. These morons aren't afraid of the potential terrorists on campus. They're not afraid of the drug dealers on campus, the potential rapists coming onto campus, the armed robbers coming onto campus. No, they're afraid of the police because the police, they're afraid, I got to say it again. They're afraid of the police because the police successfully stopped a terror attack. And after that investigation, information gleaned off the investigation directed the police to infiltrate the Brooklyn College Muslim community, and the snowflakes are afraid of the cops, not the terrorists. This one has me so fired up. This is insanity. And the director of public safety, a retired NYPD captain, is playing in and enabling this nonsense. Where does it end? Where does it end? Now, he backpedals a little bit. This useless do-nothing captain, retired. Quote, Wentz told the New York Post that we, quote, prefer, that quote, we prefer, were the key words regarding where cops should use the college's bathrooms, adding, quote, if police are seen walking across the quad, some may interpret that as an emergency going on. Well, if you're in college, if you're an adult in higher education, and you can't interpret 2 police officers maybe joking around as they walk to a restroom as just that, a stroll, rather than them running, yelling into their radios, if you're too dumb to understand the difference in body language and response between somebody walking to a restroom or wherever and an emergency situation, then you're probably too dumb to be in college. All right? And a college spokesperson said, and this is the one I love, quote, Brooklyn College offers the use of our facilities to the NYPD and other public servants, ... as a courtesy. Well, no, they don't. It's public land. It's a public building. And what the New York City Police Department should do is arrest any moron snowflake who tries to block their access to the restrooms for disorderly conduct, including the moron public safety director, NYPD captain, retired, Wentz. This has got to end. This has got to end. When we are at a place where college students are more afraid of police, they're not afraid of the cops, this social justice nonsense, sound bites, so that you can be the coolest, most liberal idiot on campus. But when they're actually willing to go on the record and say that they're more afraid of the police than potential terrorists within their student body, we are about to fall off a very steep cliff. We've got to turn this around. And academia is going to be the first battleground. Going to be the first battleground, and then we've got to just put better people in office. But this one has me really fired up. Stay on top of this story. I'm going to. This is just mind-blowing. If this content fires you up as much as it fires me up, please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows. Be back with you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.